By the time Sarah finished speaking, the silence felt heavier than the words she had shared. An elderly woman near the fountain whispered a prayer and traced the sign of the cross, as if Sarah's presence alone could invite misfortune. Others avoided her eyes. A stranger was always unwelcome here, especially one with hollow cheeks, worn boots, and no proof of belonging. No one offered work. No one offered kindness. As evening crept in, hunger twisted painfully in Sarah's stomach. She counted the few coins left in her palm, then walked into the general store and traded them for a small sack of dried beans. That was all she could afford. That was all she had. When she stepped back into the empty square, something inside her shifted. Instead of searching for shelter or begging for mercy, Sarah knelt on the stone ground. She gathered brittle twigs, stacked them carefully between two rocks, and struck a flame. A small fire flickered to life. People slowed their steps. Some scoffed. Others stared. Sarah didn't care. She filled her cracked pot with water, poured in the beans, and reached into her bundle. Out came the last of her dried herbs: thyme, bay leaf, crushed pepper, garlic, and salt she had guarded like treasure. As the pot began to simmer, the scent rose into the cool air. It wasn't just food. It was comfort. It was memory. It was love made visible. The plaza filled with the quiet ache of something people didn't realize they'd been missing. An old man with snow-white hair and a worn walking stick stopped beside the fire. His face was carved by years, but his eyes were gentle. "That smells like a real meal," he said softly. Without hesitation, Sarah ladled half the beans into a tin bowl and offered it to him. The first bite broke him. Tears slipped down his cheeks as he swallowed. He didn't try to hide them. "My wife's been gone 12 years, he murmured. "No one's cooked with care like this since she left. You can feel it in every mouthful." They ate together in silence, sharing more than food. When the pot was empty, the man studied Sarah closely. "Tell me how you came to be here," he said. And so she did. She spoke of loss, of roads that led nowhere, of doors closed before she could knock. He listened without interruption, leaning on his stick as if holding her story with both hands. When she finished, he nodded slowly. "You won't find work in this settlement," he said honestly. "But there's a ranch beyond the ridges, Jedstone Mountain Ranch. 15 miles out. Big operation. Plenty of hands." Sarah's heart leapt. Would they even look at me? The old man smiled faintly. "Jedstone is difficult. He lost his wife 6 years ago, and with her, his patience. Cooks never last. But after tasting your food, I know this: what you make isn't just sustenance. It's something rarer." He pressed a piece of cornbread into her hand. "Follow the main trail. When it forks near the ridge, turn left. Don't beg. Don't boast. Let your cooking speak." As she rose to leave, he added, "The hardest people to reach are often the ones who need warmth the most." That night, Sarah walked beneath the stars. Her feet screamed inside blistered boots. Every step burned. But she didn't stop. Hope carried her forward when strength failed. At dawn, she reached the fork in the road. She turned left. An hour later, the valley opened before her. Fenced pastures rolled outward. Cattle grazed lazily. Barns stood strong against the morning light. At the center, solid and commanding, a large log house. Sarah paused on the ridge. This place could be her salvation, or just another rejection. She straightened her dirt-stained dress and walked down. A ranch hand spotted her first. "Hey, who are you?" "I'm looking for work," Sarah replied. Another man laughed. "Boss won't hire a woman like you." "I'd like to speak to him anyway." A deep voice cut through the yard. "I am the boss." Jed Stone stood tall, broad-shouldered, his presence heavy as a storm. Gray threaded his dark hair. His expression revealed nothing, but his eyes held a grief so old it felt permanent. "You want work?" he asked. "Yes, sir. I heard you need a cook." "You got experience?" "Yes. Biscuits. Stews. Roast." He studied her for a long moment. "I've heard that before. None of them lasted. I only asked for a chance." Silence stretched. "You have 1 week," Jed said at last. 7 days. Impress me or leave." Relief nearly brought Sarah to her knees. Before sunrise the next morning, she was already awake. She explored the pantry. Simple ingredients. Enough. The fire crackled. Dough rose. Meat browned with onion and garlic. Eggs were beaten with milk and spice. Coffee brewed strong. Biscuits baked golden. When the men entered, conversation died. "Sit," Sarah said calmly. They ate. Eyes widened. Plates emptied. This is something else, Buck muttered. Jed didn't come. Buck carried him a tray. Jed worked until the aroma pulled him in against his will. He tasted, then finished every bite. For the first time in years, the house felt alive again. And Sarah's real trial had only begun. Small victories began to shape the mornings. Every sunrise found Sarah already awake, sleeves rolled, hands moving with quiet confidence. The meals she prepared didn't just fill stomachs. They lifted spirits. Men who once swallowed their food in silence now lingered at the tables, laughing, sharing stories, working harder than before. The change was undeniable. Each day, Buck carried a carefully arranged tray to the main house. Sarah learned quickly. Jed preferred bold flavors, meat cooked thoroughly, coffee strong and bitter, never sweet. She remembered everything. Jed noticed too. The food was excellent. The men were sharper. The ranch felt alive again. Still, he kept his distance. From the edge of the yard or the doorway of his study, he observed her, how she organized the kitchen, how she treated every worker with quiet dignity, how nothing was wasted. He said nothing, but he saw everything. On the fifth day, the balance cracked. Sarah was stirring a pot when laughter drifted in from the yard. "That new cook's easy on the eyes," one voice said. "And cooks like a miracle," another added. The laughter that followed made Sarah's grip tighten around the spoon until her fingers ached. She stayed silent. But the next morning, it worsened. During breakfast, a young hand leaned back and smirked. "Maybe you should come cook just for me tonight, Sarah." The room erupted in crude laughter. Her chest tightened. Heat rushed to her eyes. Then a voice, deep, cold, final. "Enough." Jed stood in the doorway. Silence felt like a dropped hammer. He walked forward, boots heavy against the floor, and stopped in front of the boy. "Miss Sarah May is here to work. She is the cook of this ranch, and she will be treated with respect." His gaze swept the room. One more comment. One look. One joke. "And you're gone." A chorus of hurried, "Yes, sir," followed. As Jed turned to leave, his eyes met Sarah's. In them, she saw more than anger. She saw protection. That night, she prepared his tray with extra care. When Buck returned, he grinned. "Boss said it was perfect. Ate the dessert too. Never does that." Sarah smiled, fully, freely. Days turned into weeks. Routine settled in, warm and steady. The men treated her with genuine respect now, bringing herbs, vegetables, even wildflowers. Jed remained reserved, but small changes appeared. He began showing up in the kitchen, checking the firewood, he'd say, or making sure the supplies are right. His eyes always found hers. One afternoon, he watched her work in silence. Finally, he spoke. "You've made a difference here." Her heart raced. "Thank you, sir." He hesitated. "That table in your room, the legs loose. I can fix it. And the window." Before she could reply, he was gone. The next day, both were repaired. Then a shelf appeared, a stool, a mirror. He never mentioned them. But Sarah knew. Then came the storm. The sky darkened early. Wind howled. Thunder rolled. Lightning struck. Fire exploded from the hay barn. Panic erupted. Men ran. Flames climbed. Jed stood frozen. His face drained of color. His hands shook. "It's happening again," he whispered. The fire. She was in there. Buck understood. The past had him. Leadership vanished. That's when Sarah stepped forward. "Listen to me," she shouted. The men froze. "You buckets from the well. You, get the horses out. Buck, take him away from the fire." Orders flew. Men moved. Sarah wrapped her face, ran into smoke, formed a chain. Buckets passed. Flames fought back. She didn't stop. When it ended, the barn was damaged, but the ranch stood. Sarah collapsed. Jed sat on the ground, broken. She knelt beside him. "It's over. You're safe." He looked at her like seeing her for the first time. "You saved us when I couldn't." "You're still here," she said softly. Something changed between them. In the days that followed, Jed opened. Stories were shared. Pain spoken aloud. "One night beneath the stars," he said, "this ranch is your home, if you want it." Sarah took his hand. And for the first time, neither felt alone. Don't forget to subscribe, click like, and write in the comments from which country you are watching.